I serve you? Because I feel like I've said before in the past, God is a servant, you know. And the thing is, people, the way the world is, it's like people are so individualistic, and they really just trying to step on the next person. But it's really just capitalism, the for-profit model, brainwashing has got people acting that way. Because, like Mina said in the other show, it's like, we are naturally trying to just please each other, because that's what got us along in evolutionary terms. So one of the best traits that you could have in a community is to be likable, work well with others type shit. But we just say that in interviews now, but it's not really true. You know what I'm saying? Um, but naturally we are that way. And how may I serve you? It's like Chick-fil-A. It always makes me feel a bit uncomfortable when I go to Chick-fil-A and they say, "How may I serve you?" Because it just makes me feel uncomfortable. It's pretty shocking. It shocks me. So I'm like, "How may I serve you?" Like, I can't help but to think about something sexual. You know what I mean? But that's me being freaking demented in the head, growing up in the United States of America, Babylon. So anyways, how may I serve you though? That is very nice. So what if every time, like, let's say you went home to your wife and your wife was like, "How you just got off work? How may I serve you?" Does that not sound nice? How about the other way around? The husband comes home and he asks the wife, "How may I serve you?" Does that not sound nice? And it's not a derogatory thing at all. You know what I'm saying? Because you're really uplifting yourself. Like I say, God is a servant. He serves all of us. The earth is a servant. If it wasn't for the earth serving us, we would not be here. Period. The end. Full stop. That's weird. This is how we save lives and stop school shootings.
What they are.
45, sir.
45.
Assistant Pastor, this is the 45.
Yes, Director of Security, 45.
The pastor carries a 45 in a case that looks like a Bible. The principal is also armed with a .38 semi-automatic pistol. How many of you feel safer knowing that your teacher has a gun? All of you. School in New Mexico, many of the teachers carry guns, just in case. Show me your weapons and tell me what they are.
45, sir.
45.
Assistant Pastor, this is the 45.
Yes, Director of Security, 45.
The pastor carries a 45 in a case that looks like a Bible. The principal is also armed with a .38 semi-automatic pistol.
Those little pistols is not going to stop some guy in tactical gear with an assault rifle. More pistols in the school is not the answer. I'm sorry. That's just my point of view on it. The little PPs ain't going to do nothing to no rat.
Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you are out of line.
Beto that went viral. He went viral before and still didn't get elected, so I don't know if that's going to help him. What's up?
What's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah. I'm getting the echo, though. Do you have the show on or something? I'm getting the echo. Feedback. Hero agent.
Salvador Ramos was eating lunch at the Mills Creek Cafe in the town of Lakey when he heard the call go out over his radio. And our sources tell us even though that agent was not in uniform, he doesn't hesitate to jump into his vehicle and race to the school. And just so you're aware, Lakey, he is 40 miles from Robb Elementary. Sources close to this investigation tell us the Border Patrol agent who was credited with stopping Salvador Ramos was eating lunch at the Mills Creek Cafe in the town of Lakey when he heard the call go out over his radio. And our sources tell us even though that agent was not in uniform, he doesn't hesitate to jump into his vehicle and race to the school. And just so you're aware, Lakey is 40 miles from Robb Elementary. Sources.
So maybe that's why, like I was mentioning earlier, they said it was like 90 minutes before the tactical team came to deal with the situation. Maybe this guy is the tactical team and he was fucking 90 minutes away. Now that makes a lot of sense, being that it's a small little town and they don't have, like, maybe they didn't have trained people in the city to be able to deal with this kind of situation. But I don't. What's up, Pat? What you say?
There were cops there. And there were people begging the cops to go in, but they was too scared to go.
Right. And that's what I was saying. And that's what I've been seeing floating around. So I want to dig some more into that because I don't want to just be out here. And then in their defense, let's say, like I said, it's about training, right? The person who's trained to be able to deal with these kind of tactical situations. You know what I'm saying? So maybe those were just like regular cops. They didn't have training to deal with these kind of situations. So they were waiting for the guy to come that knew what the fuck he was doing.
The ICE agent?
I mean, I don't know what kind of training they go through. I mean, I'm in their defense because I don't know. And I'm on the outside. Maybe the ICE agents get trained more or whatever. Maybe, there's some kind of tactical training involved.
This ICE agent that showed up just so happened to be just somebody who's just like, fuck that. Kids. Like willing to put his life on the line for kids. That's what that was. The cops were just, and then see, like it's really. I'm a little bit emotional about it, but like they want us to fund the police and overfund the police, and this is what we get when. Yeah,
because that's what one of the clips said. Because it was like in that little town. In Uvalde, 40% of the budget goes to policing. And they were like, those guys were just standing outside the school for 90 minutes. Like, what the fuck are we paying them for?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like I say, I don't want to just jump on them on that. I don't know. It's still more information coming out. So, I want to dig some more on that. And I'm not sure if I have a video about it, but maybe. I'm gonna dig around it. But what all did you see about that topic as far as the cops not doing anything? What did you hear so far?
Well, that was mostly it. I mean, the people in the neighborhood are hearing gunshots and stuff go off, and they're begging the police to go in, and they're just sitting there, just like shook. That's pretty much what we got.
Yeah. But again, we don't know. Like they might have been ordered, to not go in. You know what I'm saying? Because I did see a video where it was like parents screaming at them, like, it's kids in there. It's our kids in there. Let us get in there and get our kids. Da 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 da. And apparently they were stopping them from getting in at this time. So, but what was I gonna say? Oh, another report said that the cops was going in and getting their own kids out of there. At this time, during that 90 minutes, it was some of the cops had students, had children in that school. This is a story that I heard, and they were getting their own kids out, as best they could, without actually engaging the situation or engaging the shooter. But one of the initial reports said that they were getting kids out even when the guy was in there, and they were breaking windows and grabbing kids, because somebody was like, it was a hero who was breaking windows and grabbing kids out of the, out of the classrooms because the guy was holed up in one of the classrooms, but all the kids in the school, everybody and the teachers were all locked up in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was kind of a weird situation where the even like the way that he was able to the Ramos was the way he was able to get into the school was because of kids that were outside and him being able to follow them in, or I don't know, some weird situation. Like he didn't even go in through like the regular entrance. Like he went in through like a side door or back door or something, along with some teachers and students. So I don't know.
And then they're talking about unlocked doors. I'm gonna get into that. And Ted Cruz talking about it needs to be only one door and shit, because they're trying to focus on that detail of how he got in. So they're like, oh, well, why was that door open? But just like you just said, I mean, like everybody knows a lot of these security doors, you could follow a student or a teacher through a door. The door may have been one of those open from the, inside
I think it was
only.
I think it was like recess, so like it was whatever grade it was that those kids were going to recess, and usually it's like maybe they all were going into one classroom, or because sometimes, like I know, like in my elementary, like they had a wall that you could slide where there was classrooms that joined together, and maybe that was a grade, a certain grade where those kids were they had recess together, and then now they were going back into the school through that classroom. So I don't know.
Let me play this clip.
Approach and initiate contact.
That somehow men think that women lose value when they've had multiple partners.
Okay, well, in nearly all societies throughout time, men have been the ones who are expected to approach and initiate contact. It's our biological role to seek out women and win their favor for a shot at reproduction. Now, if a man has poor skills or appears to be weak, his chances of mating are greatly diminished. Which is why if a man is able to sleep with many women, it's a strong indication that he possesses skills and traits that make him a highly desirable individual. A man who is able to sleep with many women is essentially the pinnacle of what men are designed to do. Other men will recognize this and will applaud that man's achievements, even if they feel a bit jealous. Even women recognize this and may find themselves attracted to such a man because if many other women want him, he must be doing something right. Now, when it comes to women, y'all operate on a qualifying paradigm. Because reproduction for women is time-consuming and potentially fatal, it's a woman's biological prerogative to be very choosy with who she lays with. She must be sure to secure the best mate she possibly can, or she risks the possibility that her children are going to be weak or at a disadvantage. So when a woman sleeps with many men, it's a strong indication that her ability to judge quality in mates is non-existent, and she doesn't care about the possible consequences of her actions. More importantly, the men that are aware of her habit of sleeping around won't be able to trust her. On an instinctual level, men can't stand the idea of having a child with a woman who sleeps around because the paternity of that child would be in question. That's why loose women are looked down upon with scorn, because they can't be trusted. Just one of many double standards that exist in this world, and why it's true. Why even true?
I liked most of what he said. One line he said I didn't like, where he said throughout all history it's always been, and that's not true. He said throughout all history and all cultures around the world. That is not true.
As long as we know, that has been true.
No, I know otherwise because I study cultures around the world. That's why I don't like to freaking talk about that kind of stuff.
Well, are we talking about cultures where there's more more men than women?
That's not the case. I'm telling you, bro. Like that. But I'm not gonna go down there. I'm just saying. I know for a fact that that's.
No, I mean, let's go down there. I mean, because you said it. There's I don't know of any. I mean, at least give me a direction to look in.
I've read too much shit to be able to just say. There's multiple cultures around the world that exhibit. Let me think of one. There is the Tuti, the Hutu. I think it's the Hutu tribe. in Africa. And the women are the ones they have. Okay, so because of it, it doesn't have to do with the number of women versus men, but it does have to do with how people are spread out. So these are people who live on like semi-desert. These are semi-desert peoples. Okay, and so they live throughout the year. They live separately. Like even though they're a part of certain groups, communities, tribes, or whatever. Throughout the year, they live in their small family groups because that's just how they live, and they kind of just live in a day because there's little resources, so the people are spread out. There's not big communities that live together, close together. So what they do is every 3 to 4 years they have like it's kind of like a festival or whatever, where all the different tribes. Well, a lot of these are the same. These really the same peoples. These really are the same peoples. And they come together and congregate, and the main purpose of the thing is kind of like to find other mates and shit. So the women get to choose, the men dress up and get all pretty, and the women get to choose, and they can have like at these, they're gonna have sex at these deals mostly, but it's going to be the woman's choice, right? And she could already be married. She could already have a husband. And, I mean, that's just how it goes. It's related to, it's kind of like finding mates. It's also related to building like, what do you call it? Like, kind of like trade partners, kind of like, more communal connections, so that y'all can deal with each other and help each other and shit like that. Does that make sense? That was very vague, but this is true. And I think I was right about which tribe it was. The who did I say? The Houthi? It wasn't the Houthi. Anyways, that's just a specific example of a culture that does that. It happens all around the world in different ways.
That?
I mean, okay, I would say that the most of the time it is, the other way around the world.
Oh,
yeah.
So we can say that for the most part, it is what the guy says. I mean, just because
I didn't say that's what I was saying.
Some little weird group of people decide to, have some traditional thing that it works out to be opposite of that. I mean, we're talking about what, maybe 20,000 people.
Yeah, the numbers don't matter. I mean, it could be more than it could be millions of people, but that wouldn't matter. It would still be the minority. Related to the majority as far as how things work. But yeah, I was just pointing out that what he was saying was not factually true. That one line. Just about all of it was good, but that one line wasn't true.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, it wouldn't be a lie based on the majority and what most people know to be true. That would stand the test of time for most people. Yeah, everybody's not anthropologists that just so happen to slip across some information that's opposite, that's something totally different than what everybody else sees every day. So for the most part, that wouldn't be a lie.
Yeah, I didn't say it was a lie. I mean, I don't think he was trying to be as honest as he could and factual as he could. So that's just some information that he probably hadn't come across. That's all. So that's why I wanted to point it out. Whenever people cover stuff that I can clear up, I always want to kind of clear it up if I have the ability to. So hopefully that guy can saw this video and maybe, or somebody, his followers, and then they can look up the shit that I said and verify that shit for their own sake, for their own understanding of the world, And that's the reason why I study anthropology in different cultures, is because I feel like
most of these people ain't gonna do none of that shit.
That's true, but hopefully they would. Hopefully, I can only, I can only do what I can. So, but that's the reason why I study this stuff, is because I want to understand myself better. Like, a lot of it has to do with my mom. Like, I wanted to understand my mom better. I couldn't get it. I don't get it. Like, And so, like, that's one of the things that drove me into anthropology, is because I realized that if you study cultures around the world, then you understand yourself better. You're on your own. You understand your own culture better. You know what I'm saying? Because the way you was born and raised, like, is what determines what your culture is, your religion, how you identify yourself as black, white, or whatever the hell, what language you speak. That's a huge part of who you are.
Yeah, but I don't think. I mean, personally, I mean, maybe there's a different way to see it, but I mean, if I want to understand my culture better, it's better for me to try to, look into like the cultures nearby, or the exact cultures that I come from, because I mean, nothing that's happening on the other side of the world may have no show no significance, no type of relativity.
I completely disagree. And one of the things is, even in the present day, I know you guys can see how much we live in a global world, and how the culture grows and changes every day. Languages change every day, and they're influenced by the others that they come across. And we got the internet, but even before the internet.
But what about for us? Like, I mean, we're distinct people. The people that we call African Americans, Black Americans, Indigenous Americans, we just so happen to be the pinnacle of what most people around the world try to replicate. So how do we find out about ourselves when we have most cultures around the world trying to duplicate what we do?
Because that's a good example to study them right there, is because we lost a lot of things, and they change over time, and we maybe forgot some of this stuff. And it's like somebody's been copying us for years, and they got this tradition, and then you find out that they actually got that from us, and it's way different from what we do. You get what I'm saying? Because cultures don't evolve at the same rate and speed. So like when you go into the country and you're like, these people lived 20 years ago, these people living in 50. Like, have you ever met somebody who's still living in the 90s? They only listen to 90s music, they wear baggy pants.
No. Not really. I can't say that but I mean, I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, I think that because of all of the differences, I don't learn much more about my own by going to study somebody else. If I'm trying to contrast, like if I'm trying to hold one up to the other, yeah. But if I'm trying to find out more about, my own lineage, I don't go study some, Christians.
But you was just saying compare and contrast. It's like the scientific method. And then the whole thing about know thyself. When you know the universe, you know thyself. What's so within, so without, as above, so below.
Yeah, but that's comparing, not finding not studying the exact culture that I want to know more about, is how, and if it's my own, I studied that one specifically. Not go across the world to try to figure out about the one that I just left. I get what you're saying, because as far as colonized, if you've been colonized, there's no point in you studying, like, let's say you was colonized by the British. There's no point in you studying British culture, really, because you've grown up in it. You are British, actually. You get what I'm saying? So to a lot of extent, yeah. I mean, you were raised up in their culture, which now has, I guess, become your culture in that time period, in that paradigm. But at the same time, to really unwind it and figure out, okay, if I want to know the culture of what my people were doing before, I'm still going to study that same culture, but I'm going to look back in time. I'm going to look at older records of different things that they did, during those time periods that I'm trying to understand more.
Yeah, I think that what a lot of people don't understand is we are world peoples, and we adapt to our circumstances and situations, and that's what makes us change or whatever. That's what kind of like evolves us. You know what I mean? So, but it's the same peoples, really. You know what I'm saying? So, studying those cultures on the other part of the world is really is still studying your culture. You have to understand that these people went through different things, so they made different choices, but it's really the same people. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I get that. I know. I mean, I understand that. Like, I mean, if you're looking at it from the world view, because I mean, Tibetans are still not doing exactly what we're doing over here in
Because we've
in
changed
Texas.
based on our circumstances and situations. But I bet you
No,
there
because
was a part.
they're
I
probably
bet
more traditional. They
that
stick to more of a traditional.
that's what I was about to say. I was gonna say I bet you there was a point in our history where we were living just like them, like exactly like them. So, but we have been colonized and fucking conquered and prisoners of war and shit like that, bro. You have to look at the big picture. You can't leave that part out.
Well, I mean, but I think we still grow our own culture. Like even through colonization, we still have developed our own culture based on that. Because yes, we've allowed, whether we allowed them or, however that dynamic began. You have a group of people that came from another part of the world that intertwined, and the things that they did, you were like, oh damn, that's pretty cool. Things you did, they're like, oh damn, that's awesome. So y'all started kind of mixing those two different cultures that made a new culture. You understand what I'm saying? You still there? What the hell? Your sound? Oh shit. Okay. Well, I don't know. I guess from my point of view, I guess that's really how I'm looking at it. Is that
Okay, I'm here.
we're steadily creating new cultures as time passes. Because I mean, like right now, we got new people that's coming in from, I mean, we haven't interacted. At least I personally haven't interacted with any, Ukrainians or any Afghans, Afghanis or whatever. I haven't interacted with any that I know of, but I'm sure there's somewhere they're intermingling with other people where in that area where they are, they're creating new culture.
Yeah,
Uh,
and you're right about us creating our own culture, even within this colonized paradigm. And it's really amazing because then it gets exported around the world again.
well, and cause see, I mean that's one of the things that I know. Like, there's been some uh, immigrants that claim, I think some African immigrants have claimed that African Americans don't have culture, which like is the furthest from the truth. Because I mean, you know,
And,
regardless of what,
and I used to feel like that, and I do sympathize with that argument. And I may say that in some circumstances because, in certain perspectives, it's true. You know what I mean?
no, it's no.
I,
Let me stop you, because that is far from the truth. Like, everybody has culture. Like, it doesn't matter where on the planet. Just because our culture doesn't go, like the culture that we're living in presently, just because it doesn't go back 1,000 years, doesn't mean that it's still not culture.
right. I agree with you, and it's something that I kind of wrestle with within myself. And it's because of the part of it is because of the names. You know what I
But
mean? Because
yeah,
cultures use the names to hold their like
but
lineages
when
and
you
traditions.
Yeah, but when you're a creative people, when your culture is the one that creates new cultures, you know, you really do have culture that started thousands of years because you have spread something across the world that somebody somewhere picked up and they're doing it now. You know, that they might still like what was our culture 1,000 years ago. Some people is like that's the best thing that they ever got, and they still using it.
Right.
And for us, we're still creating new things that is now culture. That
You there?
you know,
You there,
huh?
Deuce? What's up? We haven't heard
Yeah,
you
I'm
yet.
here. Yeah, I'm here. Oh
How
shit.
you feel,
Not
man? You
much, brother. I
driving?
just chimed in. Yeah, I'm rolling. I'm rolling here. Yeah, feeling pretty good, man. How about y'all, sir?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
How about you guys?
I'm good. I
Shit,
can't
I'm
I'm
good,
complain.
bro. I'm good.
I'm in the building, man. You know.
So,
Yeah.
Deuce, did you hear about the Texas shooting and them saying that parents was like they wouldn't let parents get in, but the cops was getting their own kids out, and 90 minutes passed. Some dude drove from fucking 40 miles away to take care of business when it was dudes standing right outside the school.
What's? Oh, you talking about the shooting in Uvalde?
Yeah.
No, I haven't really. I haven't really heard any more about it. Honestly, just from what from what my wife has been telling me, she knows somebody that's actually uh, they work for that school. You know,
Mm.
I don't want to say their title or nothing like that and give nothing away, but it was pretty horrific. You know, I will say that one of the reasons why well, the main reason why they had parents doing DNA swabs and bringing pictures was because this guy fatally shot these children in the face.
So they couldn't identify him.
Yeah.
Yeah, couldn't identify him. But you know, I mean, that's something to. I guess that's something to take a look at. You know, but as far as my understanding, that they wasn't allowing anybody into the school. That they didn't even have, like, they had removed the students that were survived from the campus of the school.
So
You
maybe the
know,
parents had a wrong story. Maybe they was trying to get in there and their kids wasn't even in there no more, but they, because it was an active crime scene, they didn't want all this information to be floating around.
yeah, yeah, and that's the thing, man. You know, when something horrific like this happens, I feel like they bring out these other misleading stories to take away from what has taken place. That's like, bringing up, oh, this was a very poor community, Uvalde, or, you know, what does that have to do with the fact that somebody went in there and brutally
Well, they're
murdered
trying to
these
get.
kids?
They were
Like, that
trying.
has
Well,
nothing to do with it, bro. Like,
I know that was one of the things that they said about the shooter. I don't know about the community, but they were saying that specifically about the shooter because they're trying to get sympathy for him because they're saying that he got talked about because he didn't have all of these up to date and cool things, and like they talked down on him because he was poor, which yeah, I grew up, like as a kid, I've seen stuff like that happening. Like, I mean, I might have got jonesed on a couple of times because of my shoes or something,
yeah,
crazy
but
or
that
whatever.
still don't give you the right.
Well,
Look at how many kids have been pissed off. Like,
exactly.
I grew up in the hood. Nigga, it was times that I went to school in dirty school uniforms and got teased on because my clothes stink. You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't have washer and dryer in our apartment. Like, didn't have money to go do laundry. I didn't go out there and kill nobody. Like,
Well, but see, but that's
that's
but
not
see
an
that's
excuse
but see
to
that's
try
the
to
point.
sympathize, the
Yeah.
media, but that's the narrative that the media tries to put out here. Like, I am not sympathetic for this dude. You know, uh, the people that I am sympathetic for
It's the
is
kids
the
and the parents.
kids and the parents that have lost their lives, you know,
Yes.
and the fact that this dude's grandfather, an elderly man, had to show his face on TV being interviewed because you never know
Well,
what type of retaliation could be done to him, you know. Uh, you know,
well,
you think about those things, but all that other shit don't
well,
matter to me.
well. I'm gonna say this, bro, because the part that because I mean, when you really look at it from a psychological standpoint, if his biggest concern was that he didn't have clothes to get dressed a certain way or dress a certain way so that people wouldn't talk bad about him, why didn't he go spend those? Because he bought two rifles that's like $1,500 a piece. Why didn't he spend those $3,000 on shoes and clothes?
Where the hell did he get $3,000? He had to buy bullets too.
That too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just
I don't.
but that's the thing. This is the mindset. This is the choice. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the design of the choice, like the direction of the choice
Mhm.
that he
Yeah.
made. Now,
Right.
I mean, now is it far fetched that maybe he was a part of some gang, some crew that you know uh, maybe gave him the money for him to go buy these guns to do some terroristic act at some point, where he would be a sleeper cell, but he was really too volatile to where he's just like all of a sudden grandma pissed him off. Now he's ready to go kill somebody, kill people. I don't know, but that's a possibility. Because I mean, my thing is, if you really that poor, if you got money to go buy because he bought the guns like 3 days apart. Like his birthday was on the 16th, on the 17th he bought a gun, and then on the 20th he bought another one.
Yeah.
So
So that's
just
not
that,
somebody that's poor, bro. Because
yeah.
somebody that's poor don't even
Well,
have the
well,
money to
I'm
go buy no artillery
well,
like that.
but see, but that's the thing that I'm curious about is that because I mean $1,500, shit for me, like I got a plan to make that kind of purchase, and I make decent money.
And okay, let's just say for shits and giggles, he didn't buy them brand new. He bought them from a pawn shop, and let's just say they were going for the low at the pawn
No,
shop, maybe
bro, it's
500 a
on
piece. Even
Deuce.
what
It's
I'm
on
saying,
record. It's on
no, no,
record
no.
what he
I
bought.
get, I know that, I'm not discrediting that. I'm just saying,
Okay,
even still, if you got them for the low at the pawn shop for 550, 600 a piece, if you're
that's still
poor, that's not what you go and buy.
no.
You feel me? That's the
Exactly.
point that I'm trying to make. Like, so he's
Yeah,
not
no, I
poor.
agree with you. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. But yeah, like no, just like to me, like the way of thinking was totally out of place, and it's a good possibility he was poor, but because he would show tendencies of like he wanted to harm people, some of these people will sponsor him that want that's not going to do it themselves, but they'll put up the money for some these young kids to go out there and do some stupid shit.
Um,
Well,
let me.
I can tell you the people that I would accuse first, but I'm not gonna say it on this show because I don't, But yeah,
Let me throw a couple dimensions in here. One of them is that dude's photo looked like it's like painted or drawn. It looks animated. It looks like a freaking I'm probably gonna pull it up at some point, but it looks like it doesn't look really like a real picture. The picture of the guy who did the Uvalde shooting. It's a weird looking picture to me. Ever since the first time I saw it,
It looks like it could have been like it could be doctored. Like when I looked at it, I was like, okay, this maybe it's a school picture. He was prepared for it, or maybe but
something's odd about it. Definitely, right?
yeah, look
yeah,
like he's got on a bunch of damn makeup and he's got eyeliner and mascara and shit on. That's what it looked like when I saw it.
It's odd looking. Okay, so
Yeah,
that dimension I
it
want to
doesn't even
touch.
look like him. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like what? And that's the particular photo. Why'd they choose that one? And why they not putting up other photos for us to compare to? Like, I don't really give a damn what he looks like, but that photo is just bothering me. So that touch on that a bit, and then the idea of the terrorism. I have a friend. I got a girlfriend now. Anyways, the chick, she is a school teacher, and she was talking about, you know, the drills. You know, think about the trauma to these children after the shooting, like across Texas. Did they make all the kids do some damn drills? What did your wife say about that, Deuce?
She basically told me that each school district operates in their own because each school district is their own entity. So they have different policies in place. You know, each school district, like some school districts, every door in the school is locked during school in session. You know, and there's only one door you can enter through, and that's usually the front main door. You know what I'm saying? Some school, you know, it's different. You know, their drills and policies are what, you know, it's different. I think it's up to whatever that school district adopts, you know.
Right. So, but
I
I'm
don't know
sure
who puts that in place. I don't know if
I'm sure there was
I would
a
assume it's the
state.
superintendent.
Yeah, but I'm sure there was a state recommendation that was put down. Like, I'm sure all the different, you know, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I mean
But
they have state recommendations and things of that nature, but you know, like I say, at the same time, you know, it all depends because you got to remember each school district operates as their own entity, so they have budgets set up for certain things, this or that nature. You
yeah,
know
but
what I'm saying?
it don't
And
cost you more money to do a drill. So that I'm talking about the tell the kids to get under the tables and stuff like that. Like, I remember when I was young, we still did some of those post World War II drills where you was like it was the bombs coming and shit. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, it don't really cost money to do a drill, but you gotta think about this is a public school system, so you know, they have to plan this shit out. They have to talk this shit over with the school district attorneys before they tell or run these drills.
And making
Because
plans specific for the school, the way
yeah,
it's the way the school is set up. You know,
Yeah.
like all
yeah,
the
so that takes money in that regard because they can't just say, okay, we're gonna run this drill. The principal can't say, oh, we're gonna have all our students run this drill. She'll have her ass handed to her because some kid goes home and complains. The next thing you know, the district has a lawsuit.
Remember, we want you to be an activist, and don't take our word for it. Look that shit up. Pulley. Yeah, well, I'm just saying, I'm sure a lot of the